Alright, guys, so we got some major news today. We had some more news drop that would pertain to you if you're a major Universal Monster fan. In this case, me. So, yes, we've got some major Universal Monster news with Renfield a few days away from premiering and apparently getting very good reviews at from critics. It looks like between this and the success we had with The Invisible Man, it looks like we're getting another Universal Monster getting his or her new take, and it's from people who have proven themselves very quickly of how to do horror movies, and that is Radio Silence. Radio Silence would know best as Ready or Not. I'm just kidding. You know him better as the Scream movies. Although, to be fair, Ready or Not is a really good horror movie. You should check it out if you haven't already. Yeah, so Radio Silence will be doing a new Universal Monster movie. The thing of it is, though, they haven't announced who it is. They just said, as of today, the directors behind Radio Silence will be working with Universal. The script is apparently done and will be directing soon. So this tells me it's probably getting a 2020... Knowing how fast these guys work on a budget, yeah, this movie will probably be coming out 2024, 2025 latest. So let's dive in. Now, here's the thing. They haven't said which Universal Monster Radio Silence will be doing, and it could be, in fairness, any of them. They were very keen in their statement, saying that like the Universal Monsters really played to the directors' talents in that they were all very low budget, very big gains, and didn't need. Although it did become a shared universe later on, it didn't need to be. Yeah, it didn't need to be an interconnected universe, although it would become one later. But the thing of it is that you don't need it to be an interconnected universe to have these monsters be successful. You just need them to be scary and atmospheric. Which, to its credit, I do think The Invisible Man knocked that out of the park, and I really got hope for Renfield. Even though, yes, I know Renfield's more of a horror comedy, I'm totally fine with the idea of Universal bringing back another Universal monster, in this case Dracula, and doing something new with him. And also, let's be real, we're all kind of excited for Nick Cage, Count Cagula, we're all excited for Count Cagula, and just have oodles and oodles of fun with it. That's really all we're gonna go see. That's all we're really watching it for, honestly. So, now, the question of the hour is, which Universal Monster is getting his or her new take? Now, I imagine we will be getting an announcement of it probably around this summer. I would say it would probably be announced Comic-Con-ish. Comic-Con is where you would drop all the news, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we will get like major news for this new Universal Monster movie coming sometime this year, probably in the summer. And a time where a lot of all eyes are on someone else, are all on one thing. Again, I go back to Comic-Con because this is kind of big fucking news. So so I thought it'd be kind of cool to talk about which of the Universal Monsters I think is most likely to be the one the Radio Silence will be working on. Because really, in fairness, they could do any of them. They could really do any one of them, honestly. They could do any one of them. But I'm going to talk about the most likely and then go down to the least likely. But in fairness, they could do all of them. Now, the other thing before we go into further is that Radio Silence is really good at delivering horror comedy. They've been really good at doing jokes in the Scream. They were the perfect people to do Scream 5 and 6, and eventually Scream 7, which I imagine will get an announcement at some point. And while I do think some Scream 6 did have some flaws, it was still a good movie. It was still a very well put together film. And I will say that, like, these were the right guys to get for a Scream movie. They understood the material, they understood what they were doing, and they were just the right guys at the right time. Yeah. Yes, their strength is like a horror comedy. So I fully acknowledge that that's kind of the thing, is that it's based a lot in horror comedy, and that's where their strength is. But I also acknowledge that they could, this also, devil's advocate, they could change things up and have it be that this is the first of their movies that's more horror-based. Although I don't think that will be the case. I think they'll look at the success of Renfield and be like, make it a little more funnier, but also make it a little dark, too. So, I say, and yes, Scream really did balance fun with gore, especially Scream 6. They knew, Radio Silence definitely knew how to play with, tension. Oh my god, there were some tense moments. So could you imagine they take those tense moments from Scream 6 and apply them to a Universal monster? Yeah. So let's talk about which Universal monster they could be shuffling off the shackles and giving new life to. So first off, I'm going to say the one I think is most likely, the Phantom of the Opera. I think Phantom of the Opera is probably the most likely. There was talk of a John Legend version of Phantom of the Opera that was going to be set in Louisiana. I haven't heard anything in the past 5 years. I think it honestly got canceled because of the pandemic. But I do think, however, that this movie... I do honestly believe this movie character is one of the most likely ones to get the best shot at getting a film. He plays in the low budget stream, and again, he kind of operates like a slasher. So the fact of the matter is, Eric, aka the Phantom, could be the most likely to get a movie. I think he is the most likely of these Universal monsters to get this film. He operates almost like a Ghostface character, where he comes out of the shadows, things like that. And I think they're really good at atmosphere. So Radio Silence, that's my first. So I think it's most likely Phantom of the Opera. I could be wrong in any of these. Next up, Wolfman. We haven't heard anything about Leigh Whannell's Wolfman. Due to after he left the project, and that's been dead in the water. So it could be in theory that they took what was left of Leigh Whannell's script, rewrote it, and then gave it to Radio Silence. The Wolfman makes a lot of sense. It has been 13 years going on, we're over 13 years since the last remake, so it would stand to reason that, yeah, why not? Although I am a proponent that I do like Benicio del Toro's Wolfman. I do like not Guillermo del Benicio, the guy who played him. I do like Benicio's Wolfman. Joe Johnston's was the director. I do like that Wolfman. I fully acknowledge that that's not good, but comparatively speaking to the 2017 Mummy movie, yeah, I'll take the Wolfman one. It had the atmosphere, it had the proper amount of gore, and you can't go wrong with, creature designs by Stan Winston. But the Wolfman is the next one on this list. I do think that Wolfman, they could have just resurrected the Wolfman script and applied it here. They've been trying to do Wolfman for a while. So Wolfman would be my next pick as to Radio Silence's next monster they could do. That could be the Universal monster we're getting. Next up, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Creature of the Black Lagoon, of all these monsters, has never gotten a remake. And it's not for lack of trying. John Carpenter tried to get one. Stan Winston. All of them have tried to do a Creature from the Black Lagoon movie, but it never got off the ground. I think this might be the next... this could be a possibility from Radio Silence. But the thing of it is that it might be a little higher budget for them, because that was the more higher budget of those films. I will say that this could be them. I think they could do something with Creature from the Black Lagoon, but... it's a little it could happen. This one I think has a pretty good shot, because they really wanted. Universal has been trying, and especially after how they passed on the script that Guillermo del Toro had, and then he turned it into Shape of Water, and how it got him an Oscar. I'm sure that put that stuck a craw in Universal's side, just a bit. So maybe this could be Creature from the Black Lagoon. Following that, I don't think it... Now, I will say I do not think it will be The Mummy, Invisible Man, or Dracula, because we've just had those. I think they're going to stay away from Mummy for a little while longer, after how bad the Tom Cruise movie was. Dracula's got his with Renfield, although then again, we are getting another Dracula film this August from Andre Overdahl, who did Scary Stories to Tell in the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and he did Troll Hunter, and that movie's going to be called The Demeter, which will focus on a chapter in the Book of Dracula. So, could it be another Dracula film? Probably not, because that was also under the Demeter's also from Universal. So I think they're going to shy away from it. Invisible Man was really successful and still a really good. It was a very well put together film, so I don't think they'll be touching that. The next one I will say that could get that could be next on that list. So Mummy, Dracula, and Invisible Man, they're out of the contention. I will say though that that Frankenstein and The Bride have a really good shot at this. Why? Because Universal has also been trying to crank out a Frankenstein movie, especially Bride of Frankenstein movie. So that one also has a pretty good shot, and I could definitely see that. Also, I'm just saying, they're really good. I'm just throwing this out into the universe. I'm just putting this out into the universe. Samara Weaving's very close with the people at Radio Silence, thanks to Ready or Not. I'm just saying, Samara Weaving would be really good. Would be a really, really good pick for The Bride. I'm just saying, I think Samara Weaving would be really cool as The Bride. So those are my picks right there. The highest one I will say is my top pick is I think it could be Phantom of the Opera, but who knows. Anyway, and a little more credit, Phantom of the Opera is supposed to be the monster at the new Halloween Horror Nights Universal Monster House, so maybe they're trying to get people ready early and get them fresh in their minds, and he's been showcased a lot more with the monsters. Could be Phantom, I'm just saying. So that's my top pick, but you guys tell me in the comments below, who do you think is the next Universal monster to get a new film? Just comment below, let me know. And also, what do you think of Radio Silence, the guys behind the new Scream films, taking over for this new film? Do you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. Once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.